in a seller's market, the competition is super tough. So how do you get that dream home of yours? Well, in this video, I'm going to give you 4 tips on how to get your offer accepted. And at the end, I'm going to give you a power tip that just might be the determining factor in you getting that dream home. On this channel, I show you what Idaho is really like. So hit the subscribe button and the notification bell to see other videos like this. Here are 4 tips on how to sweeten your offer. And I'll start with the escalation clause. Pretty much all of the homes that I'm seeing are going for asking price or higher. So what I like to advise my clients is rather than offering a price above the asking price, offer full price, but then think about how much they're willing to go over the asking price, what are they comfortable with, and put in the offer an escalation clause, which simply says that in the event that there are competing offers, you, the buyer, are willing to offer $1,000, $1,200 more than the next highest offer. So what that does is it saves you from putting in an offer at your maximum limit, because there may not be a second higher offer that is close to that maximum limit. Now, the escalation clause is not something that is unheard of. A lot of people are using it, especially in this market. And so what I usually suggest to my clients is rather than offering $1,000 over the next highest offer, offer maybe $1,500, because that will put you another $500 more than the next highest offer. Some other people may do that as well, so sometimes I will suggest to my clients to offer $1,600 more than the next highest offer. And so what that would do is it simply would put you in the best possible position that you can be in the event that there's a bidding war. Another way of sweetening your offer is by offering the seller the option of renting back the property from you after you purchase the home. You write that into the offer, and the reason this might be appealing to a seller is that in such a cutthroat market, it may take the seller a while to find a replacement property. So if you are flexible in when you can move into the new property, that's going to look appealing to the seller, because the seller knows that in the end he or she is not going to be left out on the street while he or she is looking for another property. Number 3 relates to the inspection. And a couple points here. Number 1, try to make the inspection contingency period as short as possible. If you can get the inspection contingency period down to 3 business days, that will make your offer very appealing, because during the inspection contingency period, you, the buyer, can pull out of the deal with no penalty and for any reason at all. So it's a very risky period for the seller. So if the shorter the period that is, the better that is for the seller. If there's a 6 or a 7 business day inspection contingency period, that includes the weekend, so you're up to about 10, 12 days, and the seller knows that that's 10 or 12 days that that house is off of the market, and should you pull out of the deal for any reason, maybe you don't like the dogs, you don't like the neighbors, you don't like the color of the carpet, the seller has lost 10 or 12 days of marketing on his house, and he has to put the house back onto the market after losing several weekends, which is when the highest volume of traffic comes through your house. So the shorter the inspection contingency period, the better. Now, an even better way to sweeten the deal is by waiving the inspection totally, completely. A lot of people are putting clauses into their inspection contingency. They might say something like, the buyer is willing, the buyer won't ask for any repairs that are under $3,000. And what that means is once the inspector has come through the house, he's going to bring up a whole slew of things that are wrong with the house. There's going to be trim that's nicked. There's going to be some door handles that don't work properly and some leaky faucets. All of those are cosmetic. They're little issues, but they're little issues that realtors like to pick on in order to try and lower the purchase price for their clients. So by saying that you, the buyer, will not ask for any concessions that are under $3,000, basically what you're saying is you're not going to nickel and dime anything that's wrong with the house. Only if there's a major problem with the house will you ask the buyer to lower the price or to negotiate in some way. So that could include problems with the HVAC, which can be $5,000, $6,000. Problem with the roof is a very common one. mold, those kind of big ticket items. So that's another way to sweeten the deal. Other people have just waived the inspection altogether. Now, very risky. I don't really advise that for my clients, but one way that you can get around that, if you really love this house, a particular house, is you can actually bring the inspector with you to the showing. They look at the major items on the house that can cost a lot of money, and they know what to look for. That's the roof, attic space, crawl space. They're looking basically for mold, HVAC, roof problems. The major things, within about an hour, the inspector can give you a really good idea if there are any major problems with the house. So that's a very good method, a very good way of making your offer look very appealing. You totally waive the inspection, so there's no inspection contingency period, but you get around that by bringing an inspector with you to the showing of the house. That's going to cost you a little bit of money out of pocket. It's risky because you may pay money for an inspector and you might not even like the house after you go to view the house, but that is another way to really sweeten your offer. Now, before I get to my power tip, let me mention tip number 4, and that relates to the appraisal. If you have some cash, you can write into your offer a clause that says that you, the buyer, are willing to pay in cash the difference between the purchase price and the appraisal. Now, that's particularly appealing to sellers in a seller's market, because if there are two competing offers, two bidders, they may enter into a bidding war and put in offers that are above the market value of the home. If that happens, then the seller knows that you, the buyer, actually have the cash to make up the difference between the market value, the appraisal, and the agreed upon purchase price. Now, nobody has unlimited cash, so if you only have a certain amount of money of reserves in the bank, you can write in any number that you like. You could say that you are willing to put $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 towards the purchase price in the event that the appraisal comes in below the market value. And finally, a power tip, and this is something that nobody is doing. Put in a backup offer. In this market, there are so many competing offers that people are buying homes sight unseen. People from California, from New York, from other states, they look at the pictures online, they put in an offer, the offer gets accepted, and then during that inspection contingency period, they come to view the home and they realize they don't like the neighborhood. They don't like the dogs next door, they don't like the color of the carpet. So if you put in a backup offer, you'll be next in line to get that home. There's a lot of offers that are falling through precisely because of that reason. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you want to see other videos on what it's like to live in Boise, check out these videos right there.